My best friend helped my ex replace me. Neither of them saw what I was quietly building. My name is Marley Chen. I'm 34 years old, and until 6 months ago, I thought I had life figured out. I had a relationship that worked, not the kind people wrote love songs about, but stable, comfortable, the kind where you stopped questioning things because everything just fit. His name was Devin. We'd been together for 5 years, lived together for 3. We had routines: Friday pizza nights, Sunday morning walks, separate bathroom drawers, but shared Netflix passwords. It wasn't passionate anymore, but I told myself that was normal, that fire dies down, that maturity means choosing partnership over butterflies. Looking back, I realize my mistake. I mistook consistency for loyalty, and I confused familiarity with security. Devin worked in finance. Long hours, high stress. I worked in marketing for a tech startup. Also demanding, also consuming. We told ourselves we were building something together. But most nights, we just existed in the same apartment. I thought that was enough. I thought we were safe. I was wrong. Her name was Sienna Park. We'd been best friends for 8 years. Met at a networking event when we were both new to the city, both trying to figure out who we were supposed to become. She knew everything about me, every insecurity, every dream I was too scared to say out loud, every fight Devin and I ever had. Every time I cried over something stupid at 2 a.m., she was the one I called. We had inside jokes that made us laugh until we couldn't breathe. Matching coffee orders, shared playlists. She was the person I texted first when anything happened, good or bad. She was my person, or so I thought. Sienna was single. Had been for a while. She said she was focusing on herself, on her career as a graphic designer. I admired that about her independence, her confidence. Devin liked her too. They got along easily, joked around. Sometimes the 3 of us would hang out, grab brunch, watch movies. It felt natural, safe. I never once questioned it. I should have. It started small. Devin's replies got shorter. One-word answers where there used to be paragraphs. Fine. Yeah. Later, he stopped looking at me when I talked. His eyes would drift to his phone, to the TV, anywhere but my face. When I asked about his day, I got summaries instead of stories. Busy. Long meeting? Same stuff. I told myself he was stressed. Work was brutal. His boss was demanding. Everyone goes through phases. So I adjusted. I cooked his favorite meals. I gave him space when he seemed overwhelmed. I didn't push when he stayed late at the office. I tried to be the understanding girlfriend I thought a good relationship required. But the distance kept growing anyway. Date nights disappeared. Conversations became logistical. Did you pay the electric bill? What time are you getting home? We need milk. We were roommates who shared a bed and avoided eye contact while brushing our teeth. And the worst part? I couldn't pinpoint when it started. It was like watching something rot from the inside. Slow, quiet. By the time you notice, it's already too late. We were arguing about something stupid. I don't even remember what. Maybe the dishes. Maybe plans he'd canceled last minute. Maybe the fact that I felt invisible. And in the middle of it, he said something that made my stomach drop. You know, Sienna's really good at handling stress. I froze. What? Nothing, he said quickly. I just mean, she doesn't let things get to her like you do. It was casual, offhand, but it landed like a slap. I stared at him. Why are you comparing me to my best friend? I'm not, he said, defensive. I'm just saying she's easygoing. Easygoing. The word stuck in my throat. I didn't respond. I just walked away. But that sentence echoed in my head for days. Why was he thinking about how Sienna handled stress? Why was she the standard I was being measured against? I told myself I was overreacting, but deep down, I knew. Something had shifted. After that fight, I called Sienna. I always called Sienna. He compared me to you, I told her, my voice shaking. Like you're better at life than I am. I expected her to be outraged on my behalf, to tell me Devin was being an asshole, to remind me I deserved better. But instead, she hesitated. "Well, he's under a lot of pressure right now," she said slowly. "Maybe he didn't mean it the way it sounded." I blinked. "You're defending him?" "I'm not defending him," she said quickly. "I just think, maybe you're overthinking this." Overthinking. There it was again. That word people use when they want you to stop trusting your instincts. "I know him too, Marley," she continued. "He's not trying to hurt you. He's just stressed." I wanted to believe her, so I did. I buried the discomfort. I told myself I was being paranoid, but looking back, that was the moment I should have known. She wasn't on my side anymore. She was on his. Over the next few weeks, I tried harder. I stopped bringing up the things that bothered me, stopped asking for reassurance, stopped expecting him to show up emotionally. I made myself smaller, quieter, easier. I thought if I could just be less needy, less difficult, less much, things would go back to normal. But they didn't. Devin stayed distant, Sienna stayed defensive, and I stayed silent. I was drowning in my own relationship, and nobody noticed. Or maybe they did. Maybe they just didn't care. I'd wake up next to Devin and feel completely alone. We shared a bed, but we lived in separate worlds. And the worst part? I blamed myself. I thought if I could just be better, stronger, more like Sienna, he'd come back to me. I didn't realize he was already gone. 3 weeks later, we fought again. This time it was about him canceling plans. Again. "I'm tired of being the only one trying," I said, my voice breaking. He laughed. Not a nervous laugh. Not an uncomfortable laugh. A real, condescending laugh. "You wouldn't understand," he said. "She gets me." Time stopped. "Who?" I whispered. He caught himself. "What?" "You said she. Who gets you?" "I didn't mean anyone specific," he said quickly. "I just meant, forget it." But I didn't forget it, because I knew exactly who he meant. He didn't say her name. He didn't have to. 2 nights later, Devin said he was working late. I believed him, or tried to. But around 9 p.m., I got a text from Sienna. "Can't talk tonight, super busy, rain check?" I stared at the message. She never canceled on me. Unless. I opened Instagram. And there it was. A tagged location. A bar downtown, posted 20 minutes ago. Not by Sienna, by someone we both knew. In the background of the photo, barely visible but unmistakable, were 2 people sitting close together in a booth. Devin. And Sienna. My hands started shaking. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just sat there, staring at my phone, watching my entire reality rearrange itself. They weren't working late, they were together, and they'd lied. I didn't confront anyone that night. I didn't send angry texts or show up at the bar. I just closed my phone, and I started paying attention. After that night, I watched. I noticed things I'd been too trusting to see before. The way Devin's phone was always face down now. The way he took calls in the other room. The way Sienna's name appeared in his notifications more than mine did. They started spending time together. We ran into each other at the coffee shop. She needed advice on a work thing. We grabbed lunch, no big deal. Always accidentally, always innocent, always reasonable. But I knew better now. I started checking timestamps, matching stories, paying attention to details. And every single time, something didn't add up. It was subtle at first. Inside jokes I didn't understand. "Remember what we talked about?" Devin would say to Sienna, and they'd both laugh. I'd stand there, smiling, pretending I wasn't being erased in real time. They'd reference conversations I wasn't part of, plans I hadn't been invited to. I felt like a guest in my own relationship. When the 3 of us were together, I was the outsider, and they didn't even notice. Or worse. They did. And they didn't care. It happened on a Tuesday. No screaming, no crying. No dramatic exit. Devin came home from work, sat down at the kitchen table, and said, "We need to talk." I already knew what was coming. "I think we've grown apart," he said, his voice calm. Practiced. I stared at him. Grown apart. Yeah, he said. We're not the same people we were 5 years ago. And whose fault is that? I asked quietly. He looked away. I don't think fault matters. I just think this isn't working anymore. I waited for him to say her name. He didn't. But I knew. So that's it? I said. 5 years, and you're just done? I think it's for the best, he said. For the best. As if he hadn't already been planning his next move. As if she wasn't already waiting. He moved out that weekend. Didn't take much. Just his clothes, his laptop, a few boxes. He left behind the furniture, the photos, the life we'd built. Like it meant nothing. 2 weeks. That's how long it took. 2 weeks after Devin moved out, I saw the first photo. Sienna posted it. The two of them at a restaurant, smiling, his arm around her shoulders. Caption: Good company. I felt like I'd been punched. Not because I still wanted him, but because it confirmed everything. This hadn't been a sudden thing. This had been planned, calculated. I'd been replaced before I was even gone. 3 days after the photo, Sienna texted me, "Can we talk?" I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, "About what?" Her response came fast. I didn't mean for it to happen like this. There it was. Confirmation, not an apology, not an explanation, just an admission wrapped in fake guilt. I didn't respond. What was there to say? She'd made her choice. So had he. And I wasn't going to beg for answers I already had. Over the next few days, mutual friends started reaching out. "Are you okay? We heard about you and Devin. Sienna mentioned you two haven't been talking." They were careful, diplomatic, but I could tell they'd already heard the other side of the story. And that story went like this. Devin and I had grown apart. He and Sienna had developed feelings. It was unavoidable. Nobody meant to hurt anyone. I was expected to be mature about it, to understand, to move on quietly. They wanted me to be the bigger person, to let them off the hook. But I didn't owe them that. Within a month, the narrative had shifted completely. People started saying things like, "She wasn't really happy anyway." They make more sense together. Sometimes these things just happen, as if I hadn't existed. As if 5 years meant nothing, as if I was just a placeholder until someone better came along. I heard through a mutual friend that Devin had told people I'd been checked out for months, that I'd been distant, cold, unavailable. He was rewriting history to make himself the victim, and people believed him. 6 weeks after the breakup, they went official. Not just a photo, a full relationship announcement. Sienna changed her profile picture to one of them together. Devin posted a photo with the caption, "Sometimes the right person was there all along." My stomach turned. They looked happy, unbothered, like I'd never existed. I didn't comment, didn't react. I just closed the app, and I made a decision. I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing me broken. People talk about heartbreak like it's just losing a partner. But this wasn't heartbreak. This was erasure. I didn't just lose Devin. I lost my best friend. I lost the future I'd imagined. I lost the version of myself who believed people when they said they loved her. I grieved alone, because the two people who would have comforted me were the ones who caused it. And that kind of loneliness is suffocating. A few people asked what happened. At first, I tried to explain. But every time I did, I felt pathetic. Like I was begging for validation. So I stopped. I stopped defending myself. I stopped correcting lies. I stopped trying to make people see the truth. Because the truth didn't matter. People were going to believe what they wanted. So I let them. And I started focusing on something else. Myself. I didn't post about the breakup. I didn't subtweet. I didn't make vague Instagram stories about betrayal. I just disappeared. I stopped going to the places we used to go, stopped hanging out with mutual friends, stopped showing up to events where I might see them. I deleted social media apps from my phone. Not dramatically, just quietly. People noticed. But I didn't explain. I just let them wonder. Before everything fell apart, I'd been working on something. A side project. Nothing serious. Just something I did in my free time. I'd been learning digital illustration, taking online courses, building a portfolio. Devin used to roll his eyes when I talked about it. "That's cute," he'd say, "but it's not like it's a real career." Sienna had been more supportive. Or so I thought. "It's a nice hobby," she'd said once, "but don't quit your day job." I'd laughed it off, but I kept working. And now that they were gone, I had nothing but time. While they were posting couple photos, I was working. While they were out at bars, I was learning. I took advanced courses, networked with other designers, started freelancing on the side. I didn't announce it. I didn't post about it. I just did it. And slowly, quietly, things started to shift. 3 months after the breakup, Sienna reached out again. "Hey stranger, haven't heard from you in a while. What have you been up to?" I read the message and almost laughed. She didn't actually care. She just wanted to know if I was okay, if I was moving on, if I was a threat. I replied, "Just staying busy." She responded immediately, "That's good. We should catch up sometime." I left her on read. 4 months in, I landed my first big freelance client, a tech startup looking for a rebrand. The pay was decent, not life-changing, but real. I didn't post about it, didn't tell anyone. I just cashed the check and kept working. 6 months after the breakup, I got an email. A design agency I'd been following for years was hiring. Senior designer position, full-time, benefits, salary almost double what I was making. I applied on a whim. 2 weeks later, I got the interview. 1 week after that, I got the offer. I accepted immediately. I didn't tell Sienna about the job. I didn't tell Devin. I didn't tell anyone who might tell them. Because people who betray you don't deserve front-row seats to your growth. They wanted me small, broken, stuck, and I refused to give them that. Around the same time, I started hearing things. Through mutual friends, through social media. Little cracks in the perfect image. Sienna had posted less. Devin looked tired in photos. Someone mentioned they'd been fighting. That Sienna was jealous. That Devin was distant. I didn't gloat. I just noted it and moved on. I heard through a friend that they'd been talking about me, wondering what I was doing, where I was working, if I was seeing anyone. That's when I knew. The power had shifted. I wasn't the one wondering about them anymore. They were wondering about me. 8 months post-breakup, I got an email. From Devon. Subject: "Quick favor?" My stomach turned. I opened it. He needed a professional reference for a job application. He was asking me to vouch for him after everything. I stared at the screen. Then I laughed. I didn't respond with anger. I didn't tell him off. I just replied, "I'm not available for that." Short, clean, final. He didn't respond. And I didn't care. A few weeks later, I ran into Sienna. At a coffee shop, she saw me first. Her face changed. Surprise, guilt, something else. I looked different. New haircut, new clothes, confident. She walked over. "Marley, hi." "Hi," I said, polite but distant. "You look great," she said. "Thanks." Silence. "I've been meaning to reach out," she said. "I miss you." I smiled softly. "Take care, Sienna." And I walked out. She realized it then. She'd lost me, and there was no getting me back. A year after the breakup, their relationship imploded. I didn't hear it from them. I heard it from friends. Devin had become controlling. Sienna had become paranoid. They fought constantly. He compared her to other women. She accused him of cheating. History repeated. Just not with me. One night, my phone buzzed. Devon's name appeared. "Can we talk? I've been thinking about you." Not an apology. Regret disguised as curiosity. I deleted it without responding. A week later, Sienna called. I almost didn't answer, but I did. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice breaking. "I didn't think it would cost me you." I was quiet for a long time. Then I said, "You didn't lose me because of him. You lost me because you chose him over our friendship. And that was your decision, not mine. She started crying. I hung up. People expected me to feel victorious, to gloat, to say, I told you so. But I didn't. I just felt nothing. Not joy. Not anger. Just clarity. A year and a half later, my life looked completely different. I had a career I loved, friends who valued me, confidence I'd never had before. I woke up every day in peace. No drama, no betrayal, just me. And that was enough. I saw them occasionally, at events, in passing. They weren't enemies. They were just irrelevant. And that was the greatest freedom. I realized something important. People replace what they don't value. They never replace what outgrows them. Devin and Sienna didn't replace me. I outgrew them. And they spent the rest of their time trying to fill a space I'd already left. The version of me that tolerated lies? Gone. The version that shrank herself? Dead. The version that begged for scraps of loyalty? Doesn't exist anymore. And they'll never meet the woman I became, because she doesn't let betrayers back in. Losing them hurt, but keeping them would have destroyed me. I didn't lose, I escaped. My name is Marley Chen. I'm 34 years old, and I used to think being replaced was the worst thing that could happen to me. But I was wrong. They thought they won because they replaced me. I won because I replaced the version of myself that tolerated betrayal. And that's a victory they'll never understand. If you like this story, please like and subscribe for more to come.